Hey everybody, Peace Outcast here, back with more Everlasting Summer, carrying along Xenia's route, apparently. Not exactly a solid basis for constructing theories of any kind. Oh, and I was a master of theories, if anything, though that was all in the past, because at some point I stopped caring completely about why exactly I'm destined to spend an eternity in this camp. Again! And whatever I decided, this is all not like me. I don't think that, and probably never did. It's as if someone put foreign words into my head. Did I stop being myself when I came to an alien world? The grass treacherously rustled under my feet, giving my presence away. I was sneaking up to the library, trying to find out what is happening inside. Xenia was sitting behind a table, staring straight ahead. Without even a thought flashed through my head. She looked bewildered, doomed maybe, like someone who was told they have only a matter of hours left to live. I wish I could tell her that everything's alright and in 5 days it'll repeat again, and then again. But how could this even be alright? It's like telling a sick man that he'll die in 5 days' time, but he shouldn't worry because in 7 days after that he'll die again. Sounds terrible. About 10 minutes have passed, but Xenia never moved. Sometimes it even seemed to me that she wasn't breathing. Now I began to realize with certainty that this is not just strange. This is it. The thing that threw me into this new world. I just had to decide what to start with. I could ask her head on, tell her my story. Ah, there you are. The camp leader was standing behind me. I turned around abruptly and said irritably, "What do you want?" Like always, like I was used to. "What are you dithering here for? Forgot that you need to get a signature in the library too?" Camp leader seemed not to pay attention to my words and tone. Not like usual, but like some time long ago. Along with memories of my first appearance in this camp came the long-forgotten images of the local inhabitants. Those I had deemed to be people at the time, not just decorations. It's just, you see, I don't even want to hear it. Get it all signed before dinner. Of course, I was just going to see. Then go? Olga followed me to the door with her eyes, so I didn't even have the choice of what to... Didn't have to choose what to do next. The camp leader helped. The library smelled like book dust, old Soviet furniture, and a little bit of damp. Xenia was sitting and paying no attention to me and seemed to only come to her senses when I closed the door. Hi again. I started hesitantly. After all, I was used to a certain behavior and communication pattern with the camp's inhabitants. It was hard to change my ways. This camp leader didn't let me get ready either. I wish I had strangled her with her Panama as always. Xenia didn't answer but kept looking at me cautiously. I kind of came to get the checklist signed. Okay, give it here, she answered unemotionally. I started to fumble in my pockets and then realized, no, there's totally something wrong happening with me. I should have gotten used to everything after all this time, and I'm behaving like a first grader. More specifically, like a first seasoner in the terms of this world. I think I lost it, I said, making an upset face. That's too bad, she replied in the same dry and uninterested voice. I froze in some kind of superposition? If I turn around and leave now, then what? But at that moment, determination came from who knows where. Can I ask you a question? What question? And really, what? Don't you think they've been undersalting the food in the canteen lately? The nights have gotten pretty cold, right? Oh, by the way, do you know that I'm an alien from the future? Are you alright? Lately it seems like you're upset with something. Cindy's face showed a glimpse of interest, but we don't know each other. Yeah, sure. It's just that I saw you yesterday and thought... I was getting more and more entangled in lies. The inability to tell the truth was driving me even further into autism and reducing my vocabulary. I saw you running through the camp yesterday too, but we still don't know each other. No, we don't, but I was told about you by Slavia. Yeah, you're roommates with her, right? And what did she tell you? Little by little, Xenia was starting to emerge from her contemplative condition. Nothing. I let out a helpless sigh and heavily sank into the chair near the door. Outside the window, the many-voiced birds were singing their songs, the crickets were chattering. Somewhere water was splashing, and from far away was the pesky sound of children laughing. But all of that was there, beyond the walls of the library. Inside of here are only the two of us, me and Xenia. Or to be more precise, a girl who looks like Xenia. There was no fear, but rather wonder. Let's assume that I'm not me. Who are you, then? For a second, I even felt insulted that she doesn't know who I am. Why, me? Oh, that me, that one? Yes, that guy. Pioneers of many worlds have told legends about me. But this specific Xenia in this specific world seemed to not give a damn about who I am and what I'm doing here, and our conversation that seemed to have started to interest her has turned into useless chatter. Who do I look like? Xenia swept her eyes over me. A pioneer? Yeah, sure, a pioneer. That's logical. Nice joke. I grinned strenuously. I wasn't joking. It's just that I look like myself, and you don't. I don't look like myself? You don't look like yourself. God! The final assault has begun. In what sense? She marveled. In the sense that you are not Xenia. No, I mean you are not the local librarian. Who am I then? She moved her eyes to the side as if looking for something on the bookshelves. I don't know, that's why I'm asking. If this is another joke. Joke? Well, you know, everyone knows already. She got embarrassed and blushed. No, I don't. With the thumbtack on my chair, I left to get a book, and while I was looking for it, Alyssa... Xenia stared down at the floor, tears filling her eyes. No, I haven't heard about anything like that. Though if you think about it, something like that was happening in the previous times. Alyssa decided to play a prank. It's just that I paid absolutely no attention to it then. And Xenia reacted differently too, I think. Alyssa. Get off me! The Pioneer girl mumbled while buttoning her shirt, her tongue barely moving. The Cybernetics Club was bathed in the bright moonlight. On the table was lying an empty bottle with a tidy lake of vodka spilled around it. My cheek was burning, and the head was spinning so hard I couldn't even understand why exactly, but hardly because of the alcohol alone. If you thought that I'm like that, then you can go to hell. The girl's fingers weren't listening to her. The button was jumping back and forth but refused to go to its prescribed place. Yeah? I lost my temper, grabbed the Pioneer by the hands, pressed her against the table, and tore her shirt open with my teeth. Like what then? Like what you were then? I'm asking you. That's not a rhetorical question. Answer me. I didn't want to change anything. It all suited me. I was living my accustomed life in my accustomed world, doing what I wanted. Why the hell would I need this novelty? You want this, I know. To go swill vodka with a stranger 5 minutes after you meet him. Not like that, are you? To hell with all of you. Make everything how it was. I was losing control over myself, the situation, the world itself. Let go, it hurts. The girl was crying. But I was holding her firmly, and in a minute she went limp and closed her eyes, with only occasional hot and salty tears falling from them. Now see, that's much better. I was roughly feeling her up everywhere, breathing rapidly and loudly at that. Because you're mine. Because you're all mine here. This whole world is mine. But the girl wasn't resisting, and I suddenly lost interest, even felt disgust. And I don't need you. There are better ones here. I let her go and slid down to the floor, exhausted. Pioneer didn't move, only continued to sob quietly. I can have any girl here. Any, you hear me? And then I'll take the meat cleaver and... You think that didn't happen before? I was shouting. You think you can tell me what to do? This is my world, you hear me? Mine. You all don't even exist. I'm talking to myself. Stop whining. I lost the last bits of control over myself, jumped up and leaned all my weight on the girl. She seemed to be close to fainting already. I bent forward and whispered into her ear. You know what I've been doing with you so many times? Want to listen? Oh no, listen now and I'll tell you. Suddenly I panicked. It has been an infinitely long time since the very beginning, but every second of it I've been living. Was aware of myself as a person, was controlling the situation in this world and many before it. And for the first time I got a feeling that I'm disappearing, that in a moment's time I'll be gone. How can that be? It's me! Don't you see? Don't you remember? You're a weakling. The girl's whisper reached me as if from another world. A pathetic weakling, a nobody. I would feel pity, but you can't pity an empty place. I jumped back from her in terror. On the pioneer's face was frozen a grimace of disgust, the tears disappearing as if they'd never been there. She got up from the table, took a couple of steps towards me, and stopped. Hmm? Well, that was a weird segue. Why are you telling me all this? Xenia asked lazily, turning a page over. Ripples were running across the water. Above us were swaying the leaves of a birch, with bright beams of the tiring midday sun shining through them. The birds were singing loudly in the grove, and the small bugs, hiding in the tall grass, were busily jumping on my legs. Well, why are you reading that book? Don't tell me that it's the first time. I like to. See, you like to narrate, and I like to read. On the other shore, on the beach, pioneers were frolicking. Olga was running after Yolana, and in the middle of the river I distinguished Slavia's gold-colored head. Could she be swimming here? So what? What? What happened next? I thought you weren't interested. You are, though. Xenia smiled. She spat in my face and walked outside, shutting the door loudly after herself. And I was left standing there. What? Is this it? The end? At some point I was waiting for it, maybe even with impatience. But it was so long ago that already I don't even remember. And what now? These dolls, these soulless dolls, destroyed my world that I've been building my whole life. Just like that, in one day's time? I ran my hand over my cheek and saw my fingers covered with something wet. What? The night had long descended upon the camp, hiding the local pioneers under its cover, hiding their malice and wiliness? I don't know. And I was just sitting in the cybernetics club, my arms folded around my knees, slowly rocking from side to side. Maybe that pioneer girl will come back now. After all, she could humiliate me much more strongly, or even do something worse. But time was passing by, and it was only the singing of the night birds and chirping of the crickets getting quieter. And dawn is near too. Camp will wake up then and start living its life that had suddenly become so unfamiliar to me. Well, whatever. The hell with it. I got to my feet with some difficulty and looked at the empty bottle of vodka lying on the table. It would be nice to pass out now and wake up tomorrow as if nothing happened, forget about today, appear in the world I'm used to where the pioneer's behavior is familiar and predictable. And it all started with that little girl. She never cried before. Or maybe she did and I just never paid attention? Even if that's true, so what? What? Become a weakling, feel sorry for that little blank? Go down to their level even? No, I have to pull myself together. I left the cybernetics club, slamming the door loudly and breathed in the fresh night air. Strange. Didn't feel as artificial as usual. So where shall I go? I guess catching up to that pioneer girl and getting revenge for the spit in the face would be worth it. I would have never forgiven such an insult before, and I won't forgive it now. There wasn't a single living soul in the square aside from a pioneer sitting on a bench. I paid no attention to him at first. Who knows how many retards dwell here, but he called out to me. Hey, Semyon. Who the hell are you calling Semyon, damn you? I hissed under my breath. But the pioneer wasn't calming down. You must be looking for someone, but she didn't go that way. I froze in place, but immediately turned around and quickly walked up to him. So you saw her? Of course I did. A disgusting smile appeared on his face, a grin even, a savage one, expressing only one superiority over their opponent. Spit it out then. We're not playing a guessing game here. Wait, what are you in such a rush for? Sit down, let's talk calmly for a start. I have nothing to talk to you about. The pioneer thought for a moment, then rummaged in the pockets of his shorts, took out a pack of Cosmos, and held it out to me. Want some? This. Where did you get it? I don't remember regular pioneers having cigarettes. Although so much has happened in the last 24 hours that has never happened before. I slowly drew out one cigarette and gave the pack back to the strange pioneer. He turned it around in his hands for a while and then tossed it back to me. Take it. I quit. And that filthy smile again. To hell with it, though. I need to go catch that insolent bitch. So, tell me where she went. Why do you need that poor girl? She is insignificantly small on the scale of the universe and maybe doesn't even exist in this one. He thought for a moment, then continued. Same goes for you. Are you sure you exist? And even so, that your existence here and now is the real one? Maybe you really existed before and now you don't? Or you will exist in the future and at the moment it's just a doll standing before me. The word doll fired painfully in my head, as if a .45 caliber Colt blew my brains out, splattering the contents of the brain pan over the area. Yeah, and it's Slavia's turn to clean tomorrow. I involuntarily smirked inside. Who are you? The insolent girl that spat in my face had long flown out of my head together with my brain. Who are you? I'm asking you. I grabbed him by the neckerchief and jerked him towards me with such strength that the damn red rag groaned and almost tore. But the pioneer only smiled. Calm down, don't worry that much. It's impossible to die here, you know. You've done that hundreds of times. I jumped back from him in terror. This phrase. I've certainly heard it before. No, not even that. I've been saying it myself. Long time ago in one of my previous lives. Because you are Semyon, and I am Semyon because you are me. Oh. The bench and the pioneer abruptly zoomed 100 meters away from me as if I was falling from a roller coaster. Only his disgusting grin remained before my eyes. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe this is not that Semyon. That seems to be that Semyon. Then the world around us covered in darkness. Oh. And then redness. And then whiteness. And then Zenioness. Well, and then I disappeared. Just like that. Xenia kept her eyes fixed on the book, but the story seemed to start to interest her. Why not? The timely departure is a great skill, you know. I'm a master of it, if anything. Yeah, you're a master of everything. She put the book down and hugged me. Slavia, who was clearly swimming in our direction, seemed to notice it and turned around towards the beach. Wait, I didn't even get to the main part. And not here, after all. I shyly turned away from her. Xenia clearly didn't like that and moved away from me. I'm tired of these stories of yours. They're always all one and the same. Let me tell you mine for a change. And what about, I wonder? Like how I got here, for example. I've heard it 100 times already. And I've heard yours 200. Blech. For Xenia, Savyonok didn't start with our meeting and the checklist, because I always have, and will have my first day of the session after she has already spent a week in the camp. Do you know that feeling when the time has stopped, when you can't die even if you really want to? Well, yeah, like here in this camp. No. It is always easier for me here. People behave more honestly, properly. No one really bullies anyone. There's none of, at the very least, that malice that was everywhere then before. Do you remember? I didn't answer. I can just read books, talk to people, someone needs me, someone considers me a friend. I have responsibilities. It seemed like Xenia was ready to burst into tears. Alright, why am I getting... Anyway, this one time I just woke up because of the excessive shaking of the 410 bus. Have you ever taken that bus? I nodded. Well, I never did. We don't even have bus routes with 3 digits in our town. I didn't really understand what had happened yet, and the girl sitting near me says to me, "Hi, my name's Slavia." Slavia? What's Slavia? Slavia who? Of course I was confused, but tried not to show it. Then we arrived at the camp, and things started to get stirred up. And then it happened again. And then again. Xenia sighed. And I've seen you many times, you with Slavia, Alyssa, Lena. She quietly gritted her teeth. But that wasn't me. We've been over that 100 times already, and now you're starting again. You, not you. You're all like peas in a pod. I was in your camps too, right? But she was not at all like the real me. Exactly. Distinguishing the original from the fake is not as hard as you think. Yes, because the fakes get renewed every time and the originals stay. Not like that at all. As if you know everything. What does it matter? I hugged Xenia tight and closed my eyes. I woke up covered in sweat, my heart beating like mad. The rising sun was unbearably hot, though it was no later than 6 or 7 a.m. by the looks of it. What the hell happened to me? The sinister pioneer? What was that? Maybe it was just a dream, a hallucination? Right now I'm ready to believe in that. In anything at all. Someone was slowly walking towards me across the square. I stared and recognized the camp leader. So you're at it again? She said threateningly, leaning over me. That made me get up from the bench and make a step back. And here I thought yesterday was just a misunderstanding, and you... I'm just speechless. To do something like that to a girl. What is she even talking about? What girl? What does she need from me, damn it? At least the camp leader looked like usual. That calmed me down a bit. So, answer me now. You think you'll just get away with it this time? I'll call the police. I'll even take it to the secretary of the All-Union Comsol organization. She was puffing so much that she even went red and started to pant. In my camp, you... In general, this behavior from the camp leader didn't surprise me one bit. But I felt uneasy because my mind was still returning to the events of the past night, leaving a depressing, painful feeling close to embarrassment about something done while in drunken haze. The strangest thing was that I didn't care about the camp leader shouting aloud a mere meter away from me. Shut up already, okay? Shouting like that, like there's a fire? What do you even know about problems? You think you've got a problem here? Oh, a pioneer was almost raped. What a disaster. I gritted my teeth and cast a menacing look at the camp leader that sent a flicker of fear across her face. How about I tell you about real problems, not those in your little imaginary world? Though, just go to hell. You're just a waste of time. On the other hand, I always have more than enough of that time. A frightful thought suddenly flashed through my head. What if everything will always be like this now? What if I lose control over this world forever? Any pioneer girl will be able to spit in my face at will, and the camp leader will get to lecture me like Electronique? But that's worse than death. Anyway, I gotta go. I flung at the camp leader who still hadn't recovered from shock and went wherever my legs would carry me. But really, what is death for me personally? Seems like I have long since ceased to understand the very concept of the idea. Because if I can't disappear, if I'm destined to live through the very same week in this damned camp time and time again, then maybe death is losing myself? Losing my power over the world, having uncertainty ahead? That's even worse than the fate of any regular human. Their life is a game with an unhappy ending and with no ability to save your progress. My life is a game with no ending, with the ability to save. What would they call such a life? If only I could remember how it is to be a regular man. They would probably call this hell. And this particular cycle, where even the soulless dolls humiliate me, is its last circle. I was ready to lose my mind if only I could. All the thoughts I'd been diligently driving away from myself suddenly surged with a new strength, returning long-forgotten feelings. And who turned out to be right in the end? I was always convincing myself that I'm right, not them, because I'm alive and they disappeared while chasing empty illusions. But they disappeared and I stayed. And who got the better part of it in the end? Heh heh. An already familiar snicker sounded nearby. Looks like you've understood something today. I know who you are. My voice sounded calm, but the heart was beating madly like never before. Oh, really? It'd be interesting to hear. You're the same as me, a pioneer, but from another cycle. But didn't you always think that the others were no more after Semyon no more after Semyon drove off on the bus that time? You thought that you were alone now in all these endless camps. I could be wrong. As hard as it was for me to admit it, that possibility existed. You? Wrong? Why, that can't be. Whatever. What do you need? Did you just come to mock me for what I've been doing here before? You're saying that as if you feel guilty. I don't feel guilty, and anyway, that's none of your business. Just answer the question. Well, maybe you're right. Pioneer thought for a moment. Though it's a sin to laugh at the miserable. I suddenly felt a distinct desire to punch this disgusting smile off his face. After all, I'm a trembling creature, or do I have the right? Who allowed him to impose his ways in my world? Get lost. I shouted, jumped up, swung my fist at him as hard as I could, but my hand just flew through a haze that disappeared in the air, and I lost my balance, painfully falling to the ground. Ugh. When the pain abated, I felt as if someone was standing nearby. And indeed, from the bushes was peeping a sassy little pioneer girl. You got what you deserved. She stuck her tongue out. Guess you're not as brave with your peers. Oh, you. It was so unexpected that I even forgot what I wanted to say. Doesn't it surprise you at all that a man just dissolved into thin air right in front of you? Well, things happen. Maybe it's some trick. Doesn't matter anyways. You got what you had coming. Not wanting to put up with these insults any longer, I abruptly jumped up and rushed at her. But the girl was skillfully running through the trees while I had to spend precious seconds dodging the branches that slashed at my face. Hillocks sticking out as well as the invisible gullies. Earning a couple bumps and scratching my hands bloody, I finally caught her at the square. What? Not so fast after all, are you? That's not as easy as running from some half-wits. Let go of me, get off. Pioneer Girl was crying. Suddenly I felt a strong blow to my back. Everything swam before my eyes and the ground came at me with tremendous speed. Ooh. So you're into children too? Oh, she's beating the crap out of me. That's it, get him! A blow to the belly. I instinctively covered my head with my arms. Not so cool now, are you? Another hit. By that point, I was ready to lose consciousness, but gathering the last bits of strength, raised myself onto my elbows and rolled several meters to the side. Blood was flowing into my eyes, turning the crowd of pioneers beating me up into a continuous red haze. This is, of course, not the best educational method, but quite an effective one, I think. Who the hell knows where, came the camp leader's voice. What are you doing? Enough! Bizarro. Did you read Don... I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name. Then he was sitting near me, merrily swinging her feet. Yeah, but I hardly remember what it was about by now. Windmills. All of your stories are like fights with windmills. What mills, please? And even if there is no mill, you will surely build one because you just have to fight something. You're saying that as if I'm some kind of masochist, aren't you? She smiled slyly. Then yeah. What would I do without her? Sometimes I thought that everything that's happened to me in this camp wasn't that bad if this reward was waiting for me at the end. I pulled her to myself and kissed her. Wait, what if someone sees? Xenia blushed and resisted, but more for show than if anything. It doesn't concern you often. No, but anyway, where was I? The windmills? Yeah, I mean, no. I meant that you still can't settle down, like if you had ridden that bus that time like all the normal people and wouldn't have met you. As if you've been waiting, as if you'd been meeting me before. Always Slavia, Alyssa, Lena, she griped. See, that means I've done everything right. To hell with you. alpha male with a harem my foot. Let's stop talking about the past. We've got a whole life ahead of us. Hey, what do you think, babe? Forget all those other girls. They were just practice. And we'll continue this in the next episode. Apparently he's in a bloody haze at this moment. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me.